Do you want to know something that nobody has ever confessed to you? You are trapped. Yes, you, the one reading these words right now. You are trapped in a jail that you yourself built, brick by brick, with every decision made while worrying about what others might say, with every opportunity you let slip away for fear of failure, with every fake smile that concealed the roaring desire inside you to scream your truth. There is an oppressive weight in your chest, not just anxiety or stress, but the unbearable burden of living a life designed to please others, a life meticulously crafted to entertain spectators who never even pay admission to witness your authentic self in action. And what is truly cruel is that nobody ever asked you to make that sacrifice. Nobody demanded that you surrender your freedom, your essence, your authenticity, yet, time and time again, you willingly change yourself to the expectations of others, selling your identity in exchange for fleeting applause and momentary approval. Now, when you peer deep inside, you must ask what remains of you. Which parts are authentically yours, and which parts were molded by fear, insecurity, and an insatiable need to fit in? They have fed you the idea that control is the key to a perfect life, that if you manage every minute detail of your existence, everything will fall into place. But let me share a truth that few dare to utter. Absolute control is a lie, a mental trap designed to keep you distracted and disconnected from what truly matters. The more you obsess over controlling every aspect of your life, the further you slide into a state of constant worry, of silent desperation, a life never fully lived because you are perpetually preparing for an outcome that never truly arrives. Have you ever wondered why, despite achieving what you thought was success, you still feel that inexplicable void? It is because what you have isn't really yours at all. Your achievements, your relationships, even your thoughts have been contaminated by the constant worry about how they will be perceived by others. In seeking external validation, you drift further away from the center of your being, from that true essence you once knew so well but now barely recognized. Michel de Montaigne, from his quiet tower centuries ago, saw clearly what many of us refuse to accept today. Detachment is not indifference, it is the only path toward genuine freedom. He understood that we are trapped not by the external chaos of life, but by our relentless, suffocating need to control what we cannot control, by our obsessive desire to please, to fit in, to avoid criticism at all costs. And what if I told you that the detachment you so fear is exactly the key to unlocking your freedom? What would happen if, for a moment, you dared to let go of that rope you hold so tightly, the rope that you believe is your safety net, but is in reality the very thing that is suffocating you? There is a paradox here. The more you try to control, the less control you actually have. The more you chase after approval, the less authentic you become. And the more you resist the inevitable tides of change, the harder the impact when it finally crashes down upon you. The world does not function according to your desires for order. It is a chaotic, unpredictable force that never bends to your will. Accepting this is not a sign of weakness, but a revelation of wisdom. Life, in all its tumult and unpredictability, demands something simple yet terrifying: the courage to let go. Let go of your need for approval, let go of your fear of failing, and let go of that false identity you have constructed to shield yourself from the judgment of others. Imagine for a moment what would happen if you ceased to worry about the opinions of others. Who would you be without that constant, paralyzing fear? Consider that version of yourself, a version that lives free from mental chains, that acts and speaks from the depths of its own truth, unburdened by the incessant need to conform. That person, that authentic self, is who you truly are. Yet there is something darker beneath this painful reality: the fear of letting go of control, because deep down you are terrified of discovering that your identity has been so diluted, so mixed with external expectations, that once you release those chains, nothing at all might remain. But here lies the liberating and brutal truth. Montaigne whispered all those centuries ago, by letting go of what you are not, for the very first time, you can clearly see what you truly are. This truth shatters the illusion that control is synonymous with safety. In fact, the more you try to control, the more you tighten the chains around your freedom. Each minute spent obsessing over every detail is another minute in which you sacrifice the spontaneity and wonder that make life worth living. You have been conditioned to believe that pursuing goals is paramount, that every decision must be weighed against an imaginary scale of perfection dictated by societal norms. But ask yourself, what if most of those goals were never truly yours to begin with? What if the ladders you've been climbing were constructed by others, designed not to elevate you but to keep you confined within their narrow view of success? The truth is, you have been living a lie. Every step you took, every compromise you made in the name of safety and acceptance, has slowly eroded the vibrant essence that is uniquely you. And now, as you stand at the precipice of a decision, you must choose. Will you continue living trapped in the golden cage you built? Or will you dare to jump into the unknown, a realm where true freedom, however terrifying it may seem, awaits? This is the beginning of a journey, one that demands you shed the layers of fear, the weight of external expectations, and the relentless need to control. It is a journey toward rediscovering your inner light, a path that promises not only liberation, but a life lived in full, radiant authenticity. When you finally let go of the illusions that have held you captive, you open the door to a reality where everything starts to go well. And this is not about wishful thinking, it is about reclaiming your power, understanding that your success, your happiness, and your true potential are not dependent on the fleeting judgments of others. They belong to you alone. Yet the challenge remains: how do you muster the courage to break free from the mental chains that have defined your existence? It begins with the acceptance that absolute control is a myth, a seductive trap that distracts you from what truly matters. Instead of chasing a mirage of perfection, you must learn to embrace the beauty of imperfection, to live with uncertainty, and to find solace in the unpredictable nature of life. In the quiet moments of introspection, when the noise of the world fades away, you may begin to recognize that every struggle you face, every moment of anxiety or stress, is a byproduct of your own relentless need to control. The more you obsess over managing your life to meet an ideal image, the more you disconnect from the spontaneous joy that lies in simply being. Montaigne understood this deeply. He observed that the act of worrying, of constantly fretting over how every decision will be perceived, steals the very essence of life. The pursuit of perfection, the endless quest to please everyone, is an exercise in futility that leaves you perpetually unfulfilled. You end up living a life that is not truly yours, but one that has been molded by the expectations of others. And the irony is that every attempt to maintain control, every effort to craft an image that conforms to external standards, only deepens the chasm between who you are and who you could be. Now, imagine the possibility of a life where you no longer feel compelled to control every aspect of your existence. Picture waking up each day with a sense of lightness, free from the oppressive burden of constant worry. In this life, the external chaos no longer dictates your inner state. Instead, you develop a sense of detachment, a state of being where the opinions and expectations of others no longer have the power to shake you. This is not about becoming indifferent or cold. It is about achieving a profound inner balance, where your sense of self is anchored deeply within, independent of external validation. It is a transformation that begins the moment you decide to let go of the need to control the uncontrollable and to stop investing your energy in what you cannot change. The journey to this inner freedom is both challenging and transformative. It requires you to confront the truth that your thoughts, your decisions, and your very identity have long been influenced by an unyielding fear of rejection and failure. You have been living as if you were always on stage, performing for an audience whose approval you desperately seek. But what if, for just a moment, you could remove that spotlight? What if you could step off the stage and see yourself for who you truly are, without the filters of external judgment, without the shackles of pretense? In that space of raw, unfiltered self-awareness, you would finally recognize that the freedom you seek has been within you all along. Every moment spent worrying, every second consumed by the fear of what others might think, is a moment lost from truly living your life. This realization is both liberating and unsettling. It forces you to question the very foundation of your identity, asking which parts of you were chosen freely and which were constructed out of necessity to meet the demands of a society obsessed with control and approval. The process of letting go is not instantaneous. It is a gradual unraveling of the layers of conditioning that have kept you tethered to a life that was never truly your own. But with every layer you shed, you move closer to a state of inner freedom, a state where the chaos of the world can no longer disturb the calm center of your being. As you continue along this path, you begin to notice subtle yet profound changes. The constant pressure to be perfect starts to ease, replaced by a gentle acceptance of life's inherent unpredictability. The more you relinquish control, the more you allow life to flow naturally, like a river that carves its own path through the landscape. And in this surrender you find that true success is not measured by the accumulation of achievements or the accolades of others, but by the quiet joy of living authentically, by the ability to be completely unapologetically yourself. In this state of detachment, you discover that every moment of worry and every bit of anxiety was merely a sign that you were holding on too tightly to a need for control that only served to suffocate your true self. You come to see that the universe, in all its chaotic beauty, does not demand that you conform to its rigid expectations. Instead, it offers you a canvas on which you can paint your own destiny, free from the constant interference of external opinions. It is a liberating truth that the more you let go, the more room you create for genuine growth, creativity, and fulfillment. Think of the relationships in your life, the goals you have pursued, and the identity you have built over the years. How many of these were truly your own, and how many were reflections of what you believed others expected of you? As you peel back the layers of pretense, you may find that what remains is a powerful, authentic self, a self that is unburdened by the endless pursuit of perfection, that thrives on imperfection, and that knows deep within that true freedom comes not from controlling life, but from embracing its inherent uncertainty. This journey toward inner liberation is not for the faint of heart. It demands a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to question everything you thought you knew about control, success, and even your own identity. But in that questioning lies the seed of transformation. The moment you decide that you no longer need to hold on to the illusion of control, you open yourself up to a reality where life, with all its unpredictability, becomes a source of endless possibility. And so, with each day that passes, you begin to see that the oppressive weight of your worries starts to lift. You begin to understand that what you once believed was the path to security, the constant need to manage every detail, to plan and prepare for every eventuality, is nothing more than a cage, a self-imposed prison that keeps you from experiencing the true beauty of life. The more you embrace the chaos and allow yourself to flow with the unpredictability of existence, the more you rediscover the essence of who you are. In that freedom, every moment becomes a chance to reconnect with your inner truth, to listen to the quiet voice within that has been longing to be heard for far too long. And when you finally let go of the constant need for approval, you step into a world where everything begins to go well, a world where the only person who truly matters is you, and where your authentic self shines brighter than any external validation ever could.